Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bridging Impact Podcast, the Coach's Corner series, where every Friday I, Coach Furtado, share my experience that I'm learning mostly from the youth sports world. You know, we pass wisdom to the next generation of athletes, coaches, and parents. But today, I kind of have a little bit more of a life episode because, as you can see, if you have been following me on YouTube, this is a new background. What does that mean? A new background, a new place. My girlfriend and I have moved across town from downtown to West LA, and I'm very, very grateful. It's a beautiful spot. If you can kind of see on the way out, if you're watching, I'm sure most of you are probably listening, but behind me is a patio. We have a couple patios, so I was able to get a little yoga outside, and it's very lovely over there, but that's enough of that. So with that being said, right, we moved and from basically across town. We'll say we moved across town. And I'm also, with work at Royal Basketball School, I am shifting my responsibilities from like coaching. I was a head coach at a gym, and this transition had been happening for the last few months, but I'm now officially, like, all my responsibilities are pretty much administrative roles in terms of like developing the coaches. Like before I was kind of doing both, but now like that's my thing. And so with this life transition of moving across town and kind of shifting internally jobs, I wanted to create a video on a podcast on navigating life transitions, because navigating transitions can be very difficult, and you're not going to be able to learn all about navigating a transition just from this episode, right? It's going to be from your own life experience. It's going to be different, but I want to share, some of my thoughts on my most recent, my big move, my big transition was here in last year around this time, a little bit over 13 months ago. My girlfriend and I moved from Eugene, Oregon to Los Angeles, and that was, for those that have been following me, was a huge transition for me. The first 6 months, I hated it. It was, it's a dirty city, it's loud, and this unbearable traffic, right? Like it was miserable. But fortunately, one of the things that I want to share with you, the number one, is time. Like time will, not necessarily, time will not necessarily heal all. I don't want to say that, but time, you have to give a transition a certain duration of time. For me, I told myself when I was here in LA, I had to give it at least 1 year before I can fully judge it. And I feel like that's fair, because if you judge something before a year, right, it's not, you're not really like letting yourself fully experience it, especially with moving to a new place. Now, when you are transitioning to a new team, right, or your kid's on a new team, or you're coaching a new team, right, it's going to take some time. There's a transition period to it, and maybe it's 3 months, 6 months, it may not be a year. When you're living in a completely new environment, and that takes a little bit more time, like a completely new environment. So for us on West LA, we're already comfortable here, and to be honest, it was an upgrade for us. So that's a little easier and smoother transition for sure. But needless to say, I believe, I think I really started, so about February, so that's about 7-8 months in, is when I really started to enjoy LA. And that was after those 6 months, because I remember when I was back on Christmas break and talking to a lot of, old friends, I didn't like it, right? I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know how long I can do this for. But now sitting here, like in this chair, like I'm incredibly grateful, and I'll talk a little bit more about the transition and how much I've grown from it, and how much, I feel like people can grow from transitions like these. But before that, the second point that I want to talk about and emphasize is just connection. And I am very fortunate and lucky and grateful that I got to do this move with my girlfriend. That made it a lot easier to have each other we both went from Eugene to LA, and it was both challenging for both of us. So that's a big one. But not everyone, I understand, has the privilege of having a great partner in their life. So one thing that really helped me as well is when I started hanging out with some of my University of Oregon buddies, that it provided me some sort of sense of familiarity, right? And I was able to, it reminded me of being back in Eugene, because there were so many times, those first 6 months, where all I wanted to do was go back to Oregon. Like, I literally, there probably wasn't a day that went by that I didn't, like, imagine myself back at the Boys and Girls Club, back on going walks in Eugene, like, at different little places. Like, I was just, like, always going elsewhere. And so I feel like, for me especially, like, I'm definitely like a people person. Like, I have to be around people, and I recognized that because at first, I wasn't around people as much. So it was really, and I didn't even see them that often, but like connecting with people that are going and sharing a similar experience to you, because two of the three of them already were familiar with LA, but one of them, he was from Portland, and so I had an opportunity. Like, we were both in the same boat. We're like Pacific Northwest kids coming down to LA, and it's a big change. So with that being said, like, just finding people, even if you don't have like some college buddies or high school buddies, that you move or you transition, you join a new team, a new workplace, there's always going to be people like in a geographic location that are going through similar experiences as you. Like, I think that's one of the big things in life, is that most people, like, don't have experiences that are specifically unique to them, and connecting with other people, actually, I mean, humans are social creatures, right, is actually going to benefit you as well, and just like make you feel a little bit more comfortable, right? It's not gonna alleviate all your pain or all the transition, which leads me into my last point, which is kind of it's almost like 2 points. I wanna be like, don't judge yourself. Right? Don't judge yourself and embrace the challenge. That's my number 3. So with me, this is something that I was bad at and I was not good at, and I still want to improve at. Like, whether it's different transitions. Maybe it's me starting my coaching gig at Venice. Maybe there's some things I need to embrace and not judge myself on. But the reason I want to talk about this is because I feel like at least personally for me, in a new situation, I judge myself because I am not performing the way I was in Eugene, right? The first 6 months, like, I was very uncomfortable. I wasn't as motivated, like I wasn't as familiar. I just didn't feel right. And I kept judging myself on that. And I should have gave myself time. I should have gave myself time to, exhale and like breathe and just embrace the challenge and embrace. And I think that's, what I really need to get better at. It's just like, of course we understand that not everything is sunshine and rainbows in life, but really just embracing the challenges that, a new experience brings, whether you're, again, joining a new team, getting a new job, like, there are a lot of different like life transitions, and I don't know what you're going through right now, but, having an opportunity to just embrace it and know that, be okay and with those uncomfortable feelings, but not judge yourself for it, right? Like, I think that's a very important distinction, to embrace the challenge, but do not judge yourself for, not perfectly going through transition. We're not robots. We're not, and I think this is probably one of the things that ties back to, right, social media, as in, like, let's say I have another buddy, going to LA, and he's doing so great, like, why am I not, and start comparing ourselves to others, right? Just like accept the challenge and embrace it. So with that being said, my like final points is that, like, this transition in life, like, really helped me grow. I mean, I got this coach shirt right here on the back that you can see on YouTube, that I wouldn't be like a basketball coach. I wouldn't be building Bridging Impact Basketball. I wouldn't be building Bridging Impact Sports, Bridging Impact Podcast without moving here. It's like, it's what's inspired me and keeps me going. And I am very confident now as a leader and as a coach. And that's something that I was kind of thrown in the fire. And because I was challenged, because the experience was hard for me, I actually feel like I grew a lot from it. I feel like my relationship has grown with my girlfriend. I feel like my just ability to like be in a city and navigate and, not be a pushover has, kind of come into me, because, being from Humboldt County and Eugene, like, everything's very chill, and, you don't have people, there are definitely people that are trying to take advantage of you, but still here in LA, like, there are a lot of hustlers, so you got to be able to speak up. And, so that's something I've been getting a lot better at, and I wouldn't have got better without this new life transition. So if you feel like that urge to kind of take that next leap and next chapter, like, I really urge and implore you to think about it. I'm not going to tell you to do it, but just think about it and think about the growth that can happen, because growth happens from transitions and doing things that are challenging. So with that being said, make sure you comment on this YouTube video or tag me on social media at Coach Furtado, and let me know the transitions and what your thoughts are on it, what helps you go through transitions. What are some recent transitions you are going through or have gone through that have helped you grow into the person that you want to become. I love, the reason I create is to connect. Create to connect, baby. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe wherever you get podcasts and subscribe here on YouTube. I'd really appreciate it if you share it with a friend. That's how we grow. It's how we impact and pass wisdom to the next generation of athletes, coaches, and parents. So I will see you all next week. We will have a podcast for you, an interview podcast for you next Wednesday, and Coach's Corner next Friday. Coach Furtado out.